Well, it's been Christmas time. I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, or whatever, but it has impacted the boat progress, so there's not much to show. I did do some work on the leaning post, and it's pretty much wrapped up, so I'm making a short little video on that. And I am getting ready to weld my own T-top, so even though it's cold and I can't do much glass and painting work, I will be over at the foundry. We're going to build a homemade T-top and try to make it look decent.
I purchased these rod holders. I got 7, and I want to mount them back here some kind of way. I think the first step is to make these two into one, so it has kind of a nice little channel back here. I'll be able to slide a flat piece of stainless inside that channel and make these two one, and I may make it slide that channel the whole width just to make them a little stronger, because it's going to need to be strong. However I do decide to put it on there, it's going to have to be strong.
So I've got some heavy stainless and I've got a bunch of sheet metal stainless. I don't have anything in between, so me and Mr. Wilton here, we're kind of making our own little brace out of some lightweight, light gauge sheet metal. Started with a piece of 90-degree bend sheet metal and just kind of smished it flat with started out with a hammer, and then we finish it up here with a device and getting it pretty much as flat as we can.
So I cut a corner out of a stainless steel box and I folded it over and beat it flat, and now I've got it slid into place and I got the spacing right, and they're pretty straight. It's still pretty flexible. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of welds on this thing to strengthen it up, and then go from there. So step 2, I've got the flat bar welded to the seat back, and it's pretty rinky-dink so far, but at least it's got everything steady so I can think and work on it. So I've got some stainless steel tubing, so I think I'm going to try to put one back here all the way across. Maybe I can get a little tack on each one of these and weld this tubing here, and I'd really like to put one on the outside of this. I may go back to the bathroom hardware and go on the outside, because people grab stuff, and if somebody's about to fall over and they grab something, it needs to be really strong. So I think this one on the bottom will help. The real strength is going to come if I go on the outside of this, and that's what I'm going to shoot for right now. Okay, so I got that little tube in place, and I think once I weld, well, I got to cut this, and obviously, but once I finish this weld and tack each one of these tubes, each one of these rod holders to this tube, I think that's going to be strong enough to hold the rods. Now the thing will be to keep people from grabbing them and using them to hold their body up. So I think somehow or another I'm going to put another stainless towel rod like behind this. It may not even be attached to the rod holders, but I think it'll be a natural place to grip when the boat's underway. So the rod holders are good just like they are. I don't need any more braces on the rod holders. They're not going anywhere. I do need to clean my welds up. Since I got the paint all screwed up, I'm going to go ahead and add 2 more gussets like the ones in the front. I'll cut 2 more. I'm going to put them here in the back. And I'm going to add 4 of these little cut up U-bolts here to have something to strap the ice chest to, so it doesn't bounce around. And also it probably acts like a brace also. So I'm going to do this weld and clean all these welds up, and then put the handhold in the back. And I'm kind of procrastinating on it because it's going to be hard. While I was digging around in my stainless steel junk box, I found these two 90 degrees, which means I don't have to deal with these big fat bars. I can put a smaller bar around the backside of the rod holders, and I've got plenty of straight stainless steel. I can run that across there, and this is like so much easier to work with than this big diameter stuff that's half the thickness of this. So good stuff. I'm going to get these and clean them up, and they're bent. Looks like a little bit more than 90 degrees. I'll have to cut them back. Good stuff. So I chopped a little bit off of each one of these to make them a true 90. I have a Sharpie mark on the work table. I got them weighted down so they won't move. I got a straight piece in the middle. Put a little tack on it. Take it up and try it. Make sure it's good before I weld it too much.
I love working with gloves. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Come on. You can do it. It's not heavy. Just pick up the screw. There you go. So we built this little foundry to cast my wife's artwork in bronze, and I'm pretty good at TIG welding bronze, and I'm pretty terrible at TIG welding stainless, although I've gotten a lot better since I started this little leaning post project. So I'm buffing out the welds with 120 grit flap disc. I have no delusions about making my welds become invisible. I'm just not that good, or I'm not that patient one. But I can get them pretty good.
We got the handhold just barely tacked into place, and I want to cut 2 braces to go from here down to here, so it'll be super strong. Now the reason I got excited when I found these extra curves is I don't have any way to make that. That's got to be made in a mandrel, which I don't have. So by finding these scraps, I knew I had this one with 290s, but I was saving these curves to make the frame around the windscreen. But now I have 2 extra, and I've already got the handhold built on there. So this is good stuff. Now these were another part of some sort of handrail, and they were welded on here, and I cut and tried to save the cope as much as I could. So I have these 2. These are going to be the braces for the handhold. I'm going to go cut them to length. Whew. Almost too short. Got the braces in place, and the handrail and the braces are just tacked. So now I need to weld and finish my welds. All welded up. It's super strong, super happy. Only thing left to do is, I don't know, 10 hours of sanding and grinding, which I probably won't do. I'll probably get it close and call it good.
So here I'm applying some professional weld in a can. This is just some epoxy fairing compound. I'm trying to make these welds look a little better. I'm sand them and paint them all. So I have 7 rod holders. They'll probably never see 7 rods at the same time, but they might see 4. They might see a bait net, probably a pair of pliers, catfish flippers. These things are just so handy. You very seldom see a fishing boat in South Louisiana where there's not something in every single rod holder. This is a Harbor Freight tool that I'm kind of fond of. It's a little steel mandrel. It basically has screw threads on the end, and it comes with a pack of sandpapers rolled up in a little roll, like a little tight roll of paper towels. And as you use it, it kind of wears out. And the darn things work pretty good. I use them a lot at the foundry with a high-speed grinder, but it does okay with a drill motor also. And it's time to put a little paint on here, some temporary paint. I started masking with some paper and blue tape, and I ran out of the paper I had and ended up using aluminum foil, which worked a whole lot better. You could just kind of wrap it around and squinch it, and it was a done deal. So got a coat of primer and a coat of paint, and came out pretty good. And I've just ordered my foam for the seat cushion and the back cushion, so I'll have to decide if I'm going to attempt to do the upholstery myself or not.
Starting to fabricate a windscreen frame or a grab rail. And I I got this old step, this single step, and I knocked it apart. Man, it looks like something I made back in the day, but I really can't remember. Isn't that a shame? Anyway, I got to cut this in half, and I got to stretch it wider to go all the way across. So I cut back to some clean metal that hadn't been adulterated, and find a straight piece of pipe, and we'll make it wider. And it's got to be wide enough to get the windscreen, the plexiglass between the frame and the center console here. So I have to do some measurements. So I took the grinder and ground a little coat on the end of a straight piece of pipe, and then I cut it to length, kind of arbitrary. And I'm going to use this to bolt the windscreen to the console. This will be welded, of course, and then it'll be through bolted. So now what I need to do is make 3 more just like it. This will be a little more challenging than just making one.
These copes were so small that I didn't use a template or hole saw or anything. I just grind them out by eye. And so the first step is to make them fit the perpendicular pipe. And the next step, which is a little tricky but not too bad, the pipe, when it's fitting, it has to be standing up at a 90-degree angle. So it's a little back and forth, but you know, all in all, it probably took less than 2 minutes to do each one of them. And then once they fit the perpendicular pipe, and once the pipe was vertical, I just whacked them off, and I ended up with 4, not perfect, but almost perfectly matched little standoffs.
Okay, I'm set up to weld the first little spacer. I have the 90 looking straight up, and it's held by the 2 big magnets. And my little spacer block is held by gravity in this chunk of iron. And as far as I can tell, everything's straight. I'll try to get a little tack on it without it moving.
Now I'm cutting off a straight piece to go across the top of the handhold between the 2 90s.
I got the first part of the frame welded together, and I did it the same way I always do. I got this measurement from this face to the far face, and that determined how far these 2 are going to be apart. I put it on the bench, and I drew square lines, and I just weighted it down tight, and then I measured the piece I needed to fill in the middle and put it in there, and you know, tack it, check it, tack it, check it, and then welded it out, and it came out pretty good. Now I need to make a piece to go here, a little brace. This will be a complicated coat, and then on this end I'm going to have the same detail. I'm going to weld a little piece and through bolt it there. So I'm going to cut maybe here a couple of straight pieces, and I'll start trying to get the coat. After I get the coat to fit, I can cut the length, and after I cut the length, I can weld my little offset piece. So I'll cut a coat at a good angle here. It's strictly aesthetic. There's no right or wrong. And where it passed here, I put where the hole can be as far up and as far back and still get another on the inside. So I just played with it till I liked it. And when I got it where I liked it, I marked the top and the bottom with blue tape, and I marked the slope with a pencil, and then I cut another one so it would fit, so it would be the same. And when I got the other one the same, I took my little stub pieces that I cut earlier. I had cut 4 of them, and I just put this here, and I put the stub piece centered on the X, and I held it real tight. Like this. And I went and put it on the welding table. Welded it.
Which gave me 2 nice right hand pieces when I really needed a right hand and the left hand, so there was a little rework involved, but in the end I got my pair and everything's okay.
Okay, wrapping up day 1. I'm a whoop puppy. I got it together, started making these welds, and then it got sloppier and sloppier, so I quit. I'm going to bring it home, and I'm going to fill the inside of here with a wood plug, and I'm going to fill the inside of this one with a wood plug. So just to neaten it up and have more contact area there, but pretty happy. I think it came out okay.
Thursday morning snuck up on me. I didn't have a video ready, so I slinked on over to the foundry early and finished welding and finished grinding and sanding and put it on there for a test fit, and there we are. I'm posting this thing right now.
And we're done, except for probably some more sanding and filing. But it fits well, it's very strong, and that was my main concern, that it be strong, so that when I put the plexiglass windscreen behind it, people won't be tempted to grab the windscreen. They have something solid to grab. So that's what this is all about. Not too bad for a rainy week. Thanks for watching.